Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greeting everyone. Do you know Shopee or Gojek? Where apps do you always open on your phone? Or what platform do you always use to study on campus? We must realize that our lives today are all in digital assistance. Then the pandemic came and forced us to live apart and more be dependent on the digital platforms. This situation will be permanent for many people and many fields. But besides the urgency of the digitalization, the digital gap is still a problem for everyone. According to the data from ITU, 3.7 billion people around the globe do not have internet access at home. And according to the data from UNICEF report 2020, 1.2 billion students or young people do not have digital knowledge, especially in digital finance. All nations in the world need to collaborate to provide an inclusive digitalization. The G20 meeting in this year makes the digitalization one of their main topics. Today, I will ask you to understand why it's so important for us to tackle the digital gap. To start with, I will inform you the first reason is effort to improve our life after the pandemic. Then I will mention that the digitalization can facilitate and encourage the young people in the change movement. After that, I will show that the digitalization can expand welfare and self-sufficient with an inclusive and efficient digital finance. First, I'd like to talk about the first reason is effort to improve human life after the pandemic. The reason is the pandemic has devastated our conventional world order. It makes the digital platforms have an important role in human life. The evidence is, according to the data from JSIS, the pandemic has caused 1.2 billion students to study through the digital platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, and etc. But on the other hand, the pandemic also provides advantages for e-commerce companies. To big companies like Walmart and Amazon has reached a 56% increase in profit compared to the years before the pandemic. So, the digitalization is important during the pandemic and in the future. Expertness and connectivity to the digital platforms are a must. After that, the digitalization can facilitate and encourage young participation in the change movement. The reason is young people are progressive and there will be a future leader for the nation. They use social media and internet every day. The digital platforms have become an important area to express their aspiration in all fields, especially in political, social, and economy. The evidence is, according to the data from UNICEF report 2020, China's students during the pandemic raised funds on the digital platforms for frontline workers. They also raised hashtag climate strike to raise awareness about climate change. In Indonesia student demonstration 2020, they raised hashtag reformasi di korupsi. This online movement is a great mess after reformation in 98. Therefore, internet connectivity and inclusive digital platforms are necessary. Then the young people can be easier to take advantages and develop themselves to participate in building the nation. Next, let me give you the last reason why we should tackle the digital gap. Third, the digitalization can expand welfare and sufficient with an inclusive and efficient digital finance. The reason is the, dig- the digital finance can bring easy access to capital for all people. The evidence is, according to the research from Tafnet Suri, an associate professor from MIT said, in Kenya, for example, that mobile money called M-Pesa has liberated million people from extreme poverty. So, by facilitating connectivity and eliminating the digital gap, it will be easier for people for building the business and economic prosperity. In conclusion, humans should adapt to digital world and make digitalization possible for everyone. The digitalization brings us to rise after the pandemic. The digitalization also necessary to facilitate young participation in building a better future. Last but not least, digitalization also required for human to expand welfare and self-sufficient with an inclusive digital finance. So we need an international collaboration such as G20, ASEAN, and etc. to provide and accelerate the digitalization. Thank you for attention.